Welcome everyone to District 31 Club Close-Up, the video interview series where I interview clubs from District 31. We find out more about their clubs, the great things they're doing to engage members, and how they're recruiting new ones. I'm Christian Austin, the 2023-2024 District 31 Public Relations Manager, and we're here in, if you couldn't tell, a slightly different edition. We're not confined to those little boxes, and we have a whole atmosphere here. We are on site with Toastmasters of Ballardvale to talk about their club today. Toastmasters of Ballardvale is a community club, and for those who don't know what a community club, what that means is that anyone is open to come visit Toastmasters of Ballardvale. Unlike corporate clubs where it may be closed just to corporate members, this is open to the whole community. So from whatever walks of life you are, if you want to come visit a club, Toastmasters of Ballardvale is open for you to come visit as a guest and find out what their club's about. Their club was founded in 2010, so they're going 13 years strong now. They are a virtual club. Now you might say, a virtual club? You just said you're on site. Well, that is the case. Most of the time the club is on site, but today is a special meeting where they are hosting a club in person as opposed to the normal virtual meeting. And in fact, every once in a while they do have an in-person meeting for a special event, which we may hear more about during this interview series. Now don't worry, I'm not going to give all the details right now, but you're not going to miss the details of how you join Toastmasters of Ballardvale, because at the very end of the interview, there'll be a screen that gives the contact information, and there'll also be at the bottom of the video in the description how you can contact the club and find out how to join their meetings. Before we get started, I'd like to lay out the groundwork. We're going to have a panel discussion today. I'll serve as the moderator, and we have Toastmasters Ballardvale's officers here with us today. They're all going to be the panelists answering the questions that I asked them about their club. But before we get started, I want to make sure you're prepared. We're in front of this nice cozy fire, although the fire's out because it would be too hot, but we have this beautiful decor here. What I have as well is my notebook, and I want to make sure you get your notebook out as well, because we're going to be taking away some great notes from this panel discussion today. So get ready to hear more from the Toastmasters of Ballardvale club officers about their club. Before we get started though, I'd like to just go around briefly, and if everyone could just introduce themselves, what their role is in the club as an officer, and anything else that they would like to say about their role in Toastmasters, or maybe even their Toastmasters experience. So I'll start at the very end. I'll ask Emmanuel, could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you so much. My name is Emmanuel Jean. I'm the Vice President of Membership. It's a great honor and privilege for me to be part of this club. Actually, this is my first one. I was looking for a club to join, and then when I went online, I stumbled upon Toastmasters of Ballardvale. I've been loving it. It's been almost a year, and then this is one of the best choices that I've ever made, and I'm happy with it.
Emmanuel, you hear this? Just about a year, and Emmanuel has already jumped into an officer role in the club. So if you think you're too new for a club, take Emmanuel's example that you don't have to be in a club for multiple years in order to take that officer role. And it's a great thing that you happen to stumble upon this club, because you did join a great club, and now you're taking on that leadership role right away. So thanks for the introduction, Emmanuel. Next, I'd like to ask Austin. Austin, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey there, my name is Austin Walker. I'm the VP of PR for the group, and likewise, I am quite new to this. I joined the group in perhaps March, and they just loved my enthusiasm so much where maybe a month into it, they asked me if I wanted to do some more for the group, so here I am.
So the enthusiasm, right? So you may be tapped. That's actually what we do in my club as well. We look for members who are enthusiastic or getting a lot out of the club, and who better to have a club leader is somebody who has enthusiasm for the club. Thanks for sharing that, Austin. Next, I'd like to ask Ashish, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Christian. My name is Ashish Shah. I'm the secretary for the Ballardvale Toastmasters. I joined the club just over 2 years ago, And my primary motivation was to get out of my professional speaking style and become a little bit more natural, but also be able to tell a story as I was embarking on more senior roles, and it was more a conversation about stories rather than facts. The other reason I joined the club was it was virtual. I joined when we were all in the throes of COVID, and the club being virtual enabled me to be able to join and participate without needing a physical location. And that's helped me because I've actually moved now into Boston downtown proper, and so being virtual enables you to join without needing to commute to a physical place.
Thank you for that, Ashish. Yeah, the virtual club, very convenient, especially a virtual club that does occasionally have in-person meetings. Most of the time it can be virtually, but if you're far away or if it's tough to get there, if it's only once in a while you have an in-person meeting, it's a nice mix between being convenient, meeting virtually most of the time, and then being able to come every once in a while to an in-person meeting. The other thing I heard too is storytelling. If you're in a profession that's fairly technical, maybe you're giving technical facts all the time, but the technical facts, they don't always engage the audience. So how better to tell your technical information, but to frame it in terms of the story. And that's what you can practice at a Toastmasters club like Toastmasters at Ballardvale, and that's what Ashish is doing. Moving on next to Laura. Laura, can you please introduce yourself?
Thanks, Christian. My name is Laura Lang. I'm the Vice President of Education. I've been in the club for 4 years, and it's been a wonderful experience. I've got to serve with the district training team, and that was a lot of fun. And that's actually why I joined Toastmasters. I'm really passionate about training people and coaching people, and I love to speak. So I thought this would be a great opportunity, not only for me to be able to do that, but also to have a different group. We tend to only spend time with the people we spend time with. And I thought if I got involved in Toastmasters, I would have another circle of friends.
Great points. Not just about improving speaking, which Laura mentioned, but meeting new people. And one of the great things about speaking in front of new people is these people don't know you. What better way to get to know somebody but to give speeches about your personal life so that you become a community. People know your stories from the speeches you give in Toastmasters. Thanks for the introduction, Laura. And last but not least, Neil, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Neil Schuster. I am currently the club treasurer. I also happen to be the only founding member of this club still here. Way back, as you said, around 2010, when we started as a corporate club in Osram, Pennsylvania, and Danvers. We were not even in Wilmington. There's a secret for you. I originally joined Toastmasters as I was giving some presentations at work in corporate IT. And I thought Toastmasters would help me out in that area and others. Now I'm retired. And it's just a great hobby to continue to work with everybody over here. And I'm looking forward to continuing for quite some time.
Well, thank you, Neil, for staying with the club that long, being a founding member of the club. And then trivia for everyone. If you have a quiz master in your meeting, we have a little trivia fact. So remember where Neil said the club originated from when he first founded the club. Thanks for the introduction, Neil. And thank you all for introducing yourself. Let's get on with some questions. I want to learn some more about the club. I will serve as the moderator in the panel discussion. And the first question I'd like to ask everyone is, if your club had a motto, what would that motto be?
Alicia's here, can I just go down?
Sure, and our president's here as well, so our president will be joining us. What would the motto of Toastmasters at Ballardvale be if you had a motto?
I think we have fun. I think we have a safe place to learn and grow. And I think we're very welcoming. And I find that all three of those things make our club unique. And I like to feel that it's unique, but I think it is such a healthy place to grow.
Fun, welcoming, safe place to grow. That is what Toastmasters should be. We're all coming here because we're not necessarily that comfortable public speaking, maybe not leading people either. But if you have a safe space to go to and you can practice those skills where people are going to encourage you, that's critical to having growth. So very important part of the club, and I'm glad that Toastmasters of Ballardvale fosters those ideals.
And I remember when Austin used to speak, there were all kinds of ums and ahs, and
Oh, yeah.
you would always max out on those. But when he did, we could still see the improvement, and I thought it was really great that what we do in the club is we're able to say, well, you know, Austin's newer, and you did great. And if somebody's giving a speech on a level 1, we try to make it clear that this is a level 1 speech, and the evaluator's going to evaluate them appropriately for that. And I think it's really important, especially, it's important in our growth, but it's also especially important when somebody comes into the club and they're trying to decide if they're going to join or not, that they see that we give a different evaluation according to your skill level. And I think that helps people feel comfortable with going out and taking risks on trying things.
Agreed, Laura. So evaluation based on skill level. If you are working on your level 5, you may be looking for more critical feedback, whereas if you're a level 1 or you're giving your icebreaker, you don't want to be giving a feedback where everything is critical. The person may be discouraged. A nice balance in that case. So it's great to keep that in context about where the speaker is and to adjust your evaluation appropriately. And we're joined here now by the president of the club, Alicia. What we did is we went around and we just had everyone introduce themselves. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Alicia Bronsley, president of the Toastmasters Club this year. Very excited to be nominated into that role. We have a great group here, and we're very excited for this interview today.
Great. Thank you, Alicia, and thank you for joining us. Alicia hit some traffic, so she was not able to join when everyone else did, but we just started the interview, so we're going to be able to tap you for some great ideas as well.
Awesome.
Anyone else want to chime in on if there was a motto for this club, what would it be?
I believe that this club, in my opinion, fosters an environment where everyone is included. And then I felt like this club also provide a platform where we felt like we are part of bigger things, something that's bigger than ourselves. And then this is what I felt. Not only that, but this club tailors whatever they do, whatever we do in this club, to different backgrounds or preferences of whoever comes, to join this club.
Very important, tailoring the different backgrounds, right? And I think we'll have a question on that later about community clubs. We have a variety of people from different backgrounds that come to community club. It's not like the corporate club, as I mentioned previously, where maybe everyone has very similar goals in a corporation to give technical talks or maybe to do sales, something like that. You may have all of those backgrounds come to the community club. So learning about the members, learning what they want to get out of the club is very important, and being able to cater, as you said, to those backgrounds is a very important thing so that each member gets what they want out of the club. Thanks for sharing that, Manuel.
Of course.
Did anyone else want to chime in before we move on to the next question?
I've had support. So one things that I've seen within the club and have participated is a real push to make sure that everybody has a mentor that would like a mentor. And so the support structure within the club, I would say, is a big piece of it. I've benefited from having a mentor, and I have benefited by being a mentor. And it's a learning process, and the club does a really good job to make sure that that is there, and that aids the journey without needing to feel that you're on your own, or the club meetings are the only space where you're going to get to exchange and find other information and feedback. So I would say support is a big piece of it. And we all make ourselves available to each other anytime, any point. So it becomes a little bit more familiar rather than being a structure where you either make an appointment or we're only going to do it every 2 weeks and stay 10 minutes afterwards. It just breaks those barriers down. And I would say that has been a hallmark for me for the club, of being able to be informal and being available. Just the fact of statement, whether it gets used or not, neither here nor there, but the club makes ourselves available. And implicitly that's infused, at least I've observed, into the membership of the club as well.
So not just having mentors within the club, but club members just being available to help out as well. And it sounds like you have a formal mentor program as well in the club?
Yes.
How do members usually get a mentor?
Laura?
As the Vice President of Education, I will contact them to find out if they want a mentor. And then the mentors are assigned based on their goals or their interests or their reasons for joining the club. And so business, one of our newer members, a professional woman, I matched her up with Alicia because Alicia is an accomplished professional and a great Toastmaster. So it was a great match. When I was president and it was COVID and it was rough, I was assigned Neil as my mentor because he helped the club go through a very rough patch and he had some great advice for me. So we really try to match based on what the person's needs are.
Yeah, great advice. Matching on mentors and mentees, not just because it's a person that's available, looking at what the background of the mentor is and making sure to match up with the appropriate mentee so that they're going to get the most, as we talked about, goals that they have. What are the goals they want to achieve? How is that mentor going to help them achieve those goals?
And often the new member will request to have a specific person mentor them. Ashish. He's been requested a couple of times because they hear his evaluation and they think, that's my guy. So there's a lot of requests for specific people as well.
That's great. So think about that. If somebody doesn't have a mentor in your club and they may want one, let them tell you who they may want as a mentor. The worst thing is that person could say, no, I'm too busy, I can't be the mentor, but they just might say yes. Moving on to the next question, I'd like to talk a little about the education of the club. And I'd like to know, what is your process in getting new members engaged in giving speeches and taking meeting roles? Sometimes that's hard for new members. They're sitting in the back of the room, they feel intimidated. How to get those new members engaged in those meeting roles?
So one of the things we do is at the end of each meeting, we bring forth and say, our next meeting is in 2 weeks. Here's your opportunity to sign up. Who wants to be the Toastmaster? And try to get somebody to agree to be the Toastmaster to start. And then we give some gentle nudges along the way, some nice emails, friendly, kind, what open roles are still left. You know, we appreciate if you take a look and sign up. And as mentors, then we also reach out to our mentees and encourage them to sign up for roles that they haven't taken. And lastly, Laura is keeping track of all of the roles that every member has done to give them a Grand Slam award once they've completed all roles.
Grand Slam award.
I think you're getting it tonight.
Am I?
I think so.
A Grand Slam award being awarded tonight. Well, what is a Grand Slam award? It's all of the roles being taken? What is the definition?
No, an individual completing all the roles.
In one Toastmaster year.
In one Toastmaster year, completing all of the roles and tracking them as well. What a great idea that is. And this is an award that's given out during the meeting?
Yes, at the end during member accomplishments.
Okay. So this was a dense response right here. So there's a four-tiered approach of getting members engaged. At the end of the meeting, sign them up, maybe sign up the Toastmaster if you can't get any other volunteers. Then after the meeting, a nice email letting people know that meeting roles are open. Then the mentor talking to the members saying, I think it would be a good idea for you to take a certain role. And then the VP of Education tracking what roles people have taken. And if you fill all those roles in 1 year, you get a nice Grand Slam award recognition during the meeting as well. What a great approach to getting members engaged. Does anyone else want to add anything to that?
So on the recognition fronts, one other thing I really like that we do is the toasty. So at the end of each meeting, whoever has received the toasty from the last meeting raises their glass to someone for what they've done in the group during the session. And I know personally, I absolutely look for someone who's taking on a role for the first time or stepping out there and saying, yeah, it's you, everyone raise your glass to this person. And I think that's a great way to pass the torch.
That's great. Toasty too, what a great name. Toastmasters, you're giving a toast to somebody after the meeting. Is that something the club votes on? Who gets the Toasty Award? How does that work?
It's right of succession, I guess. If you get it 1 week, that's your motivation to come back the next week so you can pass it on.
Oh, okay. So the person who got it the previous meeting is the person in charge of awarding it the following meeting.
And it's supposed to recognize courage or bravery. So it's really great because it's almost always somebody newer to the club.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll have a guest come on and it'll be their first time, but they'll jump in and participate in table topics and they might get the toasty. So it's a great way to encourage new people when they step out and try something new.
Yeah, so try something new, maybe a little scary, and you might get an award at the end of the meeting and be recognized for your efforts. Great idea. Award recognition, that's why I thought the Grand Slam was a great idea too. Something that I think clubs may not do enough of is just awarding people and recognizing them for their accomplishments. So just the Grand Slam award is more involved, but the Toasty, anyone can get it any meeting, and it's recognition of something great that they did during the meeting. So great ideas, and wasn't even the question on awards, but some good ideas about awards and recognition you can give in the club as well. Moving on with membership, I'd like to know, have you done a club climate survey or done a Moments of Truth? And if you have, can you describe the outcome of either of those and how they were used?
So we did Moments of Truth. We should have done it before our success plan, but we went through it with good detail. One of the things we did come out of that was, as a club, we need to do a little bit more advertising of ourselves. We have an advantage in that we get a lot of leads come through from a potential membership through Toastmasters.org, being an open club. And Emmanuel does a phenomenal job of following up on that for us to be able to convert those individuals into paid members. But this year, Austin's had some great ideas, and we're going to follow through on those to promote the club a little more beyond what we get through just organic Toastmasters.org coming through. That was one. The other one, we touched upon in the previous question, but I would say it's a continued challenge, is getting members signed up in a timely manner for the club meetings. We get there at the end. We have not had to struggle at the 11th hour for people doubling up, but still, I think getting it ingrained into the individuals to sign up beforehand is still a challenge for us. So that was another thing that came out in the Moments of Truth for us as we went through the survey. Otherwise, pretty much across the board, we have attempted to be inclusive, open, and be diligent about the membership needs, and trying to encourage the membership to speak up. And that's always difficult under any setting that you undertake. But I believe as a club, we've been able to do that primarily because the executive team has been strong in reaching out organically and not necessarily under the structured environment. So that's kind of been our experience with the Moments of Truth.
So Steve, it sounded like you may have done the club success plan before the Moments of Truth, and you would reverse that next time around if you were to do it again?
Yeah.
Okay, so these items with promoting the club, getting more people signed up and having members speak up more, these were things that came out during the Moments of Truth that you did?
That's right.
And they ended up in the club success plan?
I think what's happened is some of it just organically, because intuitively we know where the gaps are or where the strengths are for the club, end up in the club success plan. There is, I would say, at least to my observation, more depth and introspection required in the Moments of Truth to be really open within the executive committee to acknowledge where the strengths and some of the weaknesses lie. And I would say there's a high degree of correlation for us between our club success plan and the Moments of Truth. So the reverse order, I don't think had an impact on what we had for a success plan. I think we could do a better job of just tightening that up if we reversed the order.
Mm-hmm. So Moments of Truth, if you haven't done it before, just heard about the value of that before you're going to do your club success plan. Bring that to the club, go through that Moments of Truth. That's a Toastmasters document you can get the Toastmasters International site. It'll give you guidelines, what the questions are in the moments of truth, and then there'll be some particular areas that you are going to talk about and rate your club on, and you can bring that back and then bring that into your club success plan. So great tip on doing that moments of truth before you do your club success plan. Anything else anyone would like to add about that?
I just think instead of having to sit there and say, what aren't we doing well? Where do we need to improve? I felt like the moments of truth gave us some categories of things to look at, so we didn't have to sit there and create these ideas ourselves. So I felt that it would have made the whole process a little simpler.
That's a really good point to bring up, Laura. The club success plan, they ask you for certain categories to fill out about your club, what you're doing well, what you would improve, but as you said, they're somewhat open-ended. So the moments of truth help you focus down on particular aspects that you might want to think about for your club when you're doing the club success plan. So that's a great point you brought up about the moments of truth. Thanks for that, Laura. Moving on now, I mentioned Ashish, you mentioned Emmanuel doing a great job with the leads that come in from Find a Club. That's related to my next question about some of the marketing methods that you're using to recruit new members. We heard more organic, but I'd like to hear more about what you're doing with Find a Club.
I'm gonna take one on that.
Well, I'll say in the advertising side of it, I think there's a lot more we're hoping to get into. So starting our Facebook group back up and getting a LinkedIn group where everyone can share. Here's the group, everyone. But yeah, I don't have too much experience on the Find a Club side of things. If you have any insights.
No, I don't know if you want to add.
Oh, the Find a
to
Club,
that.
that's when you get a referral.
The referrals from Toastmasters.
You get an email.
When you get the email.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm calling it by its formal name, so the referral from Toastmasters, I should have said.
Okay. No, we receive those emails and whenever they come through. So my responsibility is just to reach out to those who show interest, in joining our clubs, and hopefully they show up. And then once they show up to our meeting, so I have to follow up with them again after the second meetings just to see if they can sign up with us.
It would be rare for him not to do those things within 24 hours of it all happening.
24 hours you do this, so it's when they
Typically.
come in within 24 hours you respond?
Yes, I try, to the best of my ability to do that.
Critical when they come in, those leads from Toastmasters International. And I said Find a Club, so Find a Club, for those who don't know the terminology, that's the technical terminology that Toastmasters International has. When a referral comes into your club, that's what I was referring to, Find a Club. So that's what Emmanuel is getting. He's getting those leads that are coming in from Toastmasters International. And that's really a good point to bring up. 24 hours, get back to the person. You leave them for too long, they're going to wonder, does this club care about me? They haven't responded to me. Am I ever going to hear back from them? If I go to their meeting, is it going to be the same thing? Am I going to be neglected and have nobody pay attention to what I'm trying to accomplish? And then you mentioned following up with them as well. How does that work?
So we craft a beautiful email, as our president mentioned earlier. So when she's trying to reach out to us, it's always a very nice and cozy email, so to fill up walls. That's the same thing that I do. It's sometimes when I craft those emails, I run them through either Laura or our president just to see if they look good, because it's about our first impression. So you want to look good, by what we're writing, and then send it out to those people. Yeah, that's what I usually do. Yeah, I put together a very nice email and then I send it out to them. Then usually they respond.
Yeah, so having those emails, having the executive committee review them as well, that's an interesting point. If you're just writing an email real quickly in 30 seconds and just sending it out, maybe that's not sending the right impression. Maybe that's giving the impression, oh yeah, I just need to send an email to you, so here's your email back and here's some club information. As you said, use the word cozy, which I really liked. Cozy email, making them feel part of the club already when you send that email out, making them feel welcome and having everyone review, make sure that that email is giving that impression. And while we're talking about that, it's not necessarily somebody who is looking for the club from the referral, but when they come to the club, how do you treat the guests that come in? Are you having them introduce themselves, or what is the typical procedure for guests that come to the club?
Yeah, that's what we do, because we give lots of attention to our guests, because obviously we would want somebody who comes to your house for the first time to feel welcome, and then that's what we do. So we already know who we are expecting as our guests, and then as soon as they entered our chat room or our Zoom call, so we have them introduce themselves, and even in our table topics, we encourage them, to be part of it, because we don't want a guest to come to our meetings and we didn't engage with that guest. And usually after our meetings, some of us stay on the call to address any concerns and to make the guests feel welcome.
And that guest, can they win that Toasty Award if they participate?
Yes.
Yes? So guests can even get awarded then.
But then you have to come back to.
There you go, more of a reason to give it to a guest.
It gets down to good first impressions.
It sure does.
That's the key here. You start off by making them feel welcome. You respond quickly. You greet them at the door. You smile. They see how well organized we are, and it all works out well.
Neil, you use the word organized, which we haven't talked about yet. Can you talk more about being organized, the importance of that?
Absolutely. I've been around this for a while, and today I feel that all of the officers in this club are extremely engaged. In other words, we always were not like that, but now in the last few years, I feel that all the officers in the club all work together homogeneously. We're all trying to make this a better club. We're all trying to be better at what we do. And during the meetings themselves, by organize, what people do is they see how a meeting runs. We also let people know things about how the meeting is going to be. If somebody is a new member, they may not have a clue what is a Toastmaster meeting, what goes on. So therefore, we tell people what some of the roles are. What is the timer role? What is the grammarian role? We try to clue people in to what to expect. Here's the speaking section of the meeting. Now we're going to go to the evaluation section of the meeting. Therefore, as the meeting progresses, the new member gets to see how is a Toastmaster meeting conducted. And that's really important.
Right, if you're not organized that way, you're not giving out the roles, that guests, they're gonna sit there and not know what they're even witnessing or not know what to expect in the meeting role.
We exert a lot of energy into starting on time and ending on time. Somebody's given us their lunch hour, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock on a Thursday. And we really pack it in with 3 speeches, 3 evaluations, and table topics. And we make it all fit. And it is like clockwork. And I think that's very respectful of people's time. And I think that's a part of the organization that we pay attention to.
Absolutely, and meeting management. Organization and meeting management is definitely part of that, and part of Toastmasters is starting and ending on time and respecting people's time as well, so that's a great point.
I would just add to that sort of conversely, because we have that schedule so locked in, I've seen a lot of flexibility in the group, which has been great. So maybe a month or so ago, we had some issues with roles drop out, and we had quite a short meeting ahead of us, and we said, okay, we'll just take away from this side, extend the table topics, and we made it work really wonderfully. So I think there's a lot of flexibility in that schedule that we have.
And adapting too, right? You don't have speakers lined up. What do we do to get people engaged? Mm-hmm. Let's have an extended table topics so that more people get to speak and practice their skills, even if it wasn't a pre-assigned speech. So being able to improvise on the fly as well is a great skill to have. Fit that into the agenda and make it work.
Then to add to that, the amount of respect that we see from the club members is huge. if someone is not gonna show up for that day, surely you will receive an email, saying that.
Enforcing that that's the procedure and people following as well, because they see by example other people are doing it. And that's just expected to make sure that the meeting remains organized, and then if they're not going to be a part of the role that they said they were going to be, to let somebody else know or to fill that role as
In
well.
advance.
And this was, Neil, you actually preempted the next question I was going to have when you started talking about organization and meeting roles, because my last question before our conclusion was, how do you train new members to fulfill meeting roles? And that's part of the first part of it, is when they come in as a guest, let them know what each meeting role is about. So how do you train new members to do meeting roles correctly?
So I think we do it a couple ways. So one is by having mentors and mentees. So that way you can have those conversations about roles. We will send out emails, especially if there's open roles, and say, hey, you may have never tried this role before, but here's a timer script that you can take a look at and use, and then if you're comfortable, sign up. And also, if you have any questions about that in advance of the meeting, you can contact me. Here's my cell phone number, here's my email. And so it's giving people the understanding of that role through some scripts that the first few times they might really just use that script more heavily, but then as they do it more and more, then they make it their own.
Scripts are great to go by when you're first learning, and as you said, you make it your own after a while. Use it enough, then this piece of paper goes away after a while, it becomes natural. Anyone else have any input on?
Free Toast Host. We have the resources on there for how to fill a meeting role.
Free Toast Host, for those who don't know, Laura?
It's a website for the club provided by Toastmasters.
You can get your own free website, as Laura said, and you can put all the information in the club there. In fact, at the end of this video, there may be a Free Toast Host link to the club information, as an example.
It's great for officers because we can go in there and we can email just the officers, or we can email the entire membership of the club. We can send out the agenda from the Free Toast Host. So it's really been a huge time saver. I remember creating agendas and trying to make sure that everything's in the right place on the Toastmaster letterhead sort of template, and it's so much easier.
So there's a tip for anyone who doesn't use Free Toast Host. Go check it out. You might want to use it for your club. It makes everything so much easier, including not having to manually go make that agenda.
See, as a relatively new user, I just assumed that's how it was. So to hear that there was a time before, that's crazy.
Another thing that our newer members may not be aware of is this club is unusually fun. And we make an effort at making it fun and not formal. And one of the ways we do that, and it was a great recruiting tool, I think we have 2 new members as a result of it, is we have a table topics throwdown. So when we didn't know any better about what a contest was, we decided, wouldn't it be fun if we got together and we competed as teams on this table topics contest? We'll have a throwdown, and we had such a great time with it. But then Carly Cox was in our club, and she said, oh, well, there are rules, and there are scripts, and I'm gonna get judges from outside and a timer from outside. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is a real Toastmaster thing. But it's still a lot of fun. We do it in person. We get Chipotle and cater it beforehand for those who want to come early and eat. And we get judges from other clubs. So it was, and the great thing was, I think our last one or the one before, we had district officers. You came in and judged, and Carly was there, and Audrey has come, and so that not only does our club get to enjoy time with each other and recruit new people, because we all bring guests or spouses. I think you brought the spouse, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so we get to bring family members, but the other great part of it is the club gets to meet people outside of the club and meet these district officers that otherwise they may not even know exist. So it's a great event. It's a lot of fun. I would encourage other clubs to do events like that because it just makes you more relaxed with each other. having some fun together.
And we mentioned free toast toast. There doesn't have to be any pictures of the throwdown on free toast toast now, does there, Laura?
Oh, I think there's a few.
So go check out the free Toast Toast site and check out the club when they do their 2024 Table Topics Throwdown, because that is one of these special in-person meetings that the club does have.
Yes, you could come and be a judge.
You can come and be a judge, you can come meet new people, and even maybe participate, or is that just for club members?
We can see about
We'll
that.
see what happens next year. But the point is, special fun club events that they do have in person, although they're a virtual club, as we mentioned in the beginning. And now we're actually right before the regular meeting and some of the members are arriving, so although there's plenty more questions that we can ask the club, I want to ask one last concluding question of everyone. If people haven't gathered already, the great things that Ballardvale is doing, why should somebody come visit your club?
I'd say come and visit us because we're supportive, but more importantly, we'll learn from you. That's one of the things that I've learned is by seeing new membership, I've learned about different styles, about different aspirations and different goals. So it's a bilateral platform and not a unilateral. And so I would encourage, we get to meet you and we get to learn from you.
Thanks for that, Chief.
Cheers to that one.
Toasting you.
Any other last thoughts from anyone?
I think it came up a few times with just make new friends, right? We interact outside of the regular meetings and doing this stuff in person. It's great to get to see everyone after, all the time together. So that's the reason I'm here.
And then, if nobody else has any thoughts, how would we find out more about the club? If I was a guest and I wanted to come visit Toastmasters at Ballardvale, when do you meet? Where could I find out some more information?
You can go to our Toastmasters at Ballardvale site, which there's a public section that has our meeting times and dates. And I'm gonna assume, I might assume wrong, that there's a way to contact us from
Yes.
that page as well.
Yes, you can.
Which Emmanuel will then be happy to reach back out to you and tell you all the details to have you come join our next meeting.
Absolutely.
Typically, we're the second and fourth Thursday of the month from 12 to 1 o'clock. It's a great way to take a break from your work day and join us. And you will be treated to maybe some thematic meetings, like a Halloween meeting or a spring meeting, where you can wear a real costume or a virtual costume and be treated to a themed table topics and a lot of fun meetings to participate in as well. And if you want to come, if you're a seasoned Toastmaster and you just want to come and be a guest evaluator for us or fill a role just to see what our meetings are like, we would love to have other Toastmasters come in. And I think what Ashish said is we're going to learn from you. And I think it would be great for people to visit and join us.
Thank you, that. So make sure to go check out that free Toast Toast site and get the information that Laura just talked about meeting times, Zoom link information, special meetings. I'm just going to summarize briefly on what I heard during this panel discussion today. So Toastmasters at Ballardvale, a safe, supportive, fun club to come learn, maybe get outside of your comfort zone. You have people here that are going to recognize what your goals are, help you achieve those goals, and you'll get a mentor too, not just any mentor, a mentor that is lined up with the skills that you want to learn, that they have the expertise in. It's mentioned as a fun club. They're doing other types of events. As we mentioned, the Table Topics Throwdown is a fun special event they do. And if you do reach out to the club as a guest, the club is going to contact you within 24 hours. You're not going to be left out. You come to the meeting, you're going to be greeted, you're going to be asked if you want to take a role, and who knows, you may win that Toasty Award, even as a daily guest. Sign up for those roles. They recognize achievements. They have a Grand Slam Award by signing up for all of the Toastmaster roles. Get awarded that as well. They make sure to recognize all the achievements of their members. And just remember, this is a supportive, bilateral club where not only are you going to learn from them, but you're gonna come to the club and guaranteed there's something that you can teach all of the members as well. It's been a pleasure doing a panel discussion with all of you this evening, and I wish you the best 2023-2024 Toastmasters year that you've had yet.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
very
Christian.
much.
Thank you.